guys, what is going on? Blossom is back and welcome back to another episode of Top Drives. Today I want to answer a question about strategy when it comes to Top Drives. One of the biggest dilemmas when it comes to playing this game, and it kind of adds to the fun for some people, is what epics should you get rid of when the going gets tough? Mainly during a Tri-Series or a GT Series or even a silver screen kind of legendary challenge. Sometimes you have to max your legendaries because the legendaries are what you need to kind of get you over that leap, to get you into top 10, to get you over that one final round for that prize car. And it always comes down to the epics. It's either the epics that win you the prize car by you maxing them out, or you fusing them away into legendaries. Now, why this is such a tough question is because epics are really exclusive. They're really hard to come by. Their drop chance from a regular ceramic pack is 2.5, and you've seen all my 1 million pack openings. I average about 1 epic per 1 million, okay? So these are really hard rarities to come by, and therefore it isn't something that you kind of want to just throw away whenever you can. So it comes down and boils into the question that a lot of people ask: how do I choose what epics to get rid of, and how do I choose for what epics to keep? So this is basically what goes on in my head. It has always been an imaginary table in my brain, but now I've actually made it out into a real physical table that you can see. Well, not really physical, I guess, but you can see it. You can see it. This is basically how I rank my epics. So first of all, we have sentimental and specialists. These are the epics. Now, first of all, I want to show you all the epics in here are all my stock epics, okay? I have 1-star epics, I have 2-star epics, and a lot of maxed epics, but I'm only going to show you my stock epics. I have lock stock epics and unlock stock epics. Doesn't matter if it's locked or unlocked, they're all here today, all 82 of them. So the first two is sentimental and specialist. These two ranks are basically when the going gets tough in a Tri-Series, there is a 0% chance that I will ever fuse these into legendaries. Absolutely zero. Nada. None. And that's going to be the sentimental and the specialist. So sentimental are basically my absolute favorite epics, and that goes to basically every dodge. Got my Hellcat collection over here. I got 5-6 Hellcats in this collection. I have the M4S, the Dodge Challenger SRT10 Concept, and the Dodge Challenger RT Scat Pack. And the only two cars that aren't Dodge would be the Roof CTR Yellowbird, which is a car that I'm a huge fan of, and then we have the BMW M2 Delimited, which is my favorite BMW of all time. So those are sentimental cars. They're never getting fused. And then we have the specialist. Now, specialists are basically cars that I don't necessarily love. The only reason why they have a 0% chance of getting fused is because they fall under a category that has a 0% chance of me getting rid of, okay? And these are my other specialists, okay? Obviously, everyone knows that I love Dodge, so it's my specialist, but also because I freaking love them, so I put them under sentimental. I don't really care much about the V12 Vanquish S, to be honest with you. I don't really care much about the Virage. They're horrendous, absolutely disgusting epics in the game, but I love Aston Martin, okay? I always say Aston Martin in a British accent. I don't know why. I turn British when I talk about Aston Martin, but yeah, Aston Martin, I love the brand, so I'm collecting every single Aston Martin. So we see 3 Aston Martins and the specialist. They're crappy cars. Well, actually the DB10's alright, but 0% chance. And then 1999 is the other category, which I'm never going to fuse away, and that's why we see the Donk as well as the duplicate version of my Peugeot 306 Maxi. So those two cars also 0% chance. So everything else has a chance of, well, getting fused away. We have Godly, which is a 0.5% chance, relatively speaking. Incredible, which is a 1% chance, and then Last Resort, which is a 5% chance. Basically, every epic that I put in unlikely to hot garbage are basically stock epics that I already have unlocked. And everything I have from Last Resort all the way to sentimental are, you know, stock epics I have locked. That being said, just because they're locked and stock doesn't mean that they're safe. The only ones that are truly safe from being fused away are basically the sentimentals and the specialists. And yeah, the godlies have a very, very low chance of getting fused, but you're never safe. 0.5% chance is still a chance. But anyway, today we're gonna go through, you know, this might be a pretty long video to be honest, but today we're gonna go through all my lock and stock, well, actually no, all my stock epics and see where they land between the chart of fusibility. That's what I'm gonna call it, the chart of fusibility. It's gonna be a 2-part series because what happens is that every epic that lands in Last Resort, which is the 5% and above, they go to the second round. That goes to the chart of, you know, maxability. How often or how close am I to maxing those epics above Last Resort and above? So anyway, let's get into it. First one is gonna be the Honda NSX R. Unlikely, but to be honest, I'm the kind of owner where no epic prize car is safe. Unless your name is the Yellowbird, you really aren't that safe. I have fused prize cars away, and I'm not afraid to continue to do so. The NSXR, the only reason why it's unlikely is because it's a prize car. If that wasn't a prize car, oh my goodness, it would be likely, maybe even hot garbage. I'm not a Japanese collector. And here's the thing. This is basically me showing you basically how my brain works in a try series. This isn't me telling you that, you know, the epics that fall under hot garbage or likely or possible are actually bad epics. When you think about it, this is how my brain works in my try series for my garage, right? So we're talking, you know, all the things I'm taking into account here with how I want to keep a car or fuse a car. I have to take into account my specialities. I have to take into account what cars I love, what cars I hate, what are, you know, the countries that I focus on, etc, etc, etc. Okay, so everyone is going to be different with the epics that they want to fuse away, but I would say that the guideline would be more or less the same. It's a good foundation to have, you know, 0% all the way to 100%. All right, next one is the Jaguar F-Type rally car. That is hot garbage. Yeah, this is 100% a fuse pal. You know what? I'm gonna put it in likely just because cars that are in hot garbage basically means the next time I want to put a fuse in a legendary, those are the first 3 cars that are gonna go. And you know, I would probably focus on, you know, the cars that are not prize cars to go away first, but the F-Type rally car is still atrocious. I mean, if you own the Lancia 037, and I finally have one upgraded the right freaking way, it really brings down the stocks of the Jag. The only thing this thing has, I think, is MRA, but the top speed isn't very high and the 0 to 60 is very weak. Okay, moving on is the Volvo 850 BTCC. That's gonna be incredible, I would say. It's a fantastic club car that has the estate niche and 100 handling, and it's relatively light, so because of that, it's incredible. The chances of me fusing it is still there, but it's really low. All right, moving on is the BMW M3 CSL. The BMW M3 CSL is also gonna fall under incredible. Literally won this car yesterday from yesterday's video, so you know I freaking love this car. It is a fantastic bargain. 66 RQ, medium ground clearance, 97 handling when you max it out. But here's the big question: if it gets a ground clearance nerf, if it goes down to low, it's gonna go to last resort. And if the handling gets cut, let's say that it stays medium ground clearance, but the handling gets cut, it's gonna fall down to unlikely, because I feel like if the BMW M3 was gonna get a nerf, the fact that the handling nerf would be more jeopardizing to the car than a ground clearance nerf, in my opinion, because at least if you take away the ground clearance, you're still getting 97 handling for 66 RQ. That is really good. But yeah, for now it's going to be incredible because it's still medium and it still has that handling number. Okay, moving on is the Peugeot 208 T16, and that is going to be incredible as well. 60, we just talked about, you know, 97 handling and 66 RQ. Now we have 100 handling and 66 RQ. Low ground clearance, but it's really lightweight, a great twisty car. Definitely don't want to max sell it anytime soon. Then with the Chrysler 300 SRT8. Now this is going to be last resort. Crappy epic, right? It's a crappy epic. Why is it last resort? Blossom. Here's the thing. Like I said, you can probably copy, you know, how my thought process works with, you know, cars that I want to keep and cars that are more likely to go away. But like I said, everyone has different specialities. I'm an American specialist. I'm an American collector, and this is an American car. Moreover, it's a saloon with medium ground clearance and a low 0 to 60. To me, to what I specialize in, I see value in the Chrysler. A value that many players may not see because they're not American specialists. So because of that, I'm putting it in last resort for me. All right, then with the Maybach 57S, to me, in my opinion, is godly. In fact, this is probably the next epic that I want to max. It's either this or the M3 CSL. In fact, giving myself a visual representation of this sheet basically tells me that my heart wants me to max the Maybach before the M3 CSL, because I was deciding between both of them, but the ranks speak for itself. I rank the Maybach higher. This is a car that I really want to max because it basically is a discount Cadillac 16, but it's so much cheaper to use, 20 RQ cheaper to use, you know, and there really is no competition. The only car better than this in its niche is the Cadillac 16. Moving on is the Bentley Continental GT. That's 100% hot garbage. I was only keeping this because it had silver screen, and yeah, I never used it for silver screen, so 100% hot garbage. We have the Caterham, which is going to be possible 25%. Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of this epic. I would move it down to likely or maybe even hot garbage if it wasn't for the context that this car came with. Not the 420 part. I mean, the 420 part is funny, but I don't smoke, okay? But you know who does? Well, we don't need to talk about it, but you know, I pulled this car because I dedicated to someone where, you know, this car and the name meant a lot to him. So because of that, I'm saving it. Yeah, I mean, it's still gonna be fused away, but I'm saving it. Okay, I mean, I'm not saving it, but there's a less chance for it to be fused away. All right, next up is gonna be the Peugeot R5 Maxi Turbo. Now, the Peugeot R5 Maxi Turbo, I'm gonna put it under possible 25. It's a pretty good epic. I mean, it has decent MRA. It has that hot hatch niche, which I'm really weak in. So this was a great card to add to the hot hatch collection. The problem is, I like to make the strong stronger, and I don't care about the weak. And my hot hatch collection is already very weak. So what's the point of maxing this out? Because this will be the only one there to help me anyway. It's still not going to win me much because this is a 5-car game. You can't just win one race and win the entire thing. You need to win the majority. You need to win at least 3. So possible 25%. It's a good car, but I don't think it's going to be a great servant to my garage with the niches that I have. So 25%. Moving on is the Ford Edge ST. This one's going to be unlikely because this is an epic that I actually want. If you forgot, this was a car that I actually got from Black Friday. It was a wish-listed epic. I really like it. I like the car. I love the picture. I like how it looks. The stats leave little to be desired. This is more so I'm an American specialist, but it's unlikely to me. Moving on now is the Ford Mustang Boss 302. This is going to be likely. Once again, I am an American specialist, but I have a lot of Fords max. I have a lot of Ford Epics max. I have high RQ Fords max. I have low RQ Fords like the SVT, you know, Epics maxed. So the Ford Mustang Boss 302 can't really provide much for me. It doesn't have medium ground clearance anymore. It doesn't have great MRA. It doesn't have great handling, and the 0 to 60 could be lower. So because of that, it is pretty likely that I will fuse it away, although it's American. And then we have the Abarth 124 Spider Rally. This is going to be a last resort kind of car. My Italian collection is very weak, but unlike Hot Hatch, I actually want to bolster my Italian collection. It's on the list of niches that I want to strengthen. Hot Hatch is one of my most hated niches in the game, so because of that, there's no time anytime soon I'm going to be focusing on that, and therefore the maxi stocks drop because of that reason. But for the Italian epics, one of the weakest in my garage right now, but it's one of the countries that I want to focus on a little bit more going into the future of the game. So the Abarth 124 is going to be a great start. Lightweight, great handling, definitely going to be a last resort. And usually, guys, I want to talk about in a tri-series sense, right? Usually, epics that I fuse away during a tri-series only go up to last resort. It's really only if every epic I had from last resort and below were gone from my garage, where I would probably get rid of cars falling under godly and incredible. Okay, so moving on now is the Acura MDX. This is also going to be unlikely. Same reason for the Ford. I think they're a pretty cool car, handles pretty well, but it's more so because I'm an American collector, so it has a very low chance of it going away. And then we have the Chevrolet Camaro SS, and this is also going to fall under unlikely. Most American cars are probably not going to be under the unlikely rank of 10% fuse. Besides the Ford Mustang Boss, I really cannot see any value I can get from the Ford because, like I said, I have Ford Epics Max that are above and below its RQ with better specialities. Moving on to GMC Typhoon, and for the same reason, it's also going to be unlikely. And then we have the Lamborghini Miura SVJ, which is incredible in my opinion. Like I said, I am looking at Italian epics next, and the Lamborghini Miura SVJ is an epic that I want to collect and max. Well, not collect, I have it already, but I want to max it out. 80 handling, sorry, no, 80 MRA and 2.70 to 60. I mean, that's alright. I mean, 2.8, sorry, 2.8 for 70 RQ as well. Then with the Subaru WRX STI, that's going to be possible. The main reason why it doesn't fall under likely or 100% hot garbage fuse is because I like the handling, medium ground clearance, 4-wheel drive, and that picture is to die for. You know what? I'm actually going to move it up to unlikely. Alright, moving on. The Peugeot 907 is going to be hot garbage. That's going to be one of the first epics I'll get rid of. The Roof RGT is going to be possible. It has amazing MRA and a high top speed, but aside of that, the handling isn't going to be useful because it's a 332 car, and the 0 to 60 on the Roof RGT is atrocious. it's really bad. And then we have the Suzuki GSX 4x4. That's going to be likely. I'm no Japanese collector. I'm no fan of Suzuki, and I don't like how the remote control car looks. The stats aren't the best as well. It's basically a discount Hayabusa, and I have a max Hayabusa. So with this knowledge in mind, this is a car that I'll probably get rid of pretty soon. The BMW M4, I'm gonna give it possible. MRI on that is pretty good, 85. It's a very average car. 0 to 60 is decent. Handling is subpar, I would say. Top speed is average as well. It's a car that I'll probably fuse, but it is pretty cool in real life, and that's another thing I need to talk about. There are some, real life factors that really take into the game. That's why we have the sentimental rank. These are cars I love in real life. So the M4, I would say it's a pretty bad epic. I mean, mean, it's average. It's an average epic, but it's an epic where you can get rid of and you wouldn't feel too much pain. But I think it's pretty cool, so I'll give it 25% instead of maybe most players putting it under 60%. The Categorizing CSR is going to be likely. The main reason why is because I already have one max. This is a duplicate. Then with the Ford Fusion Sport, which is also going to be unlikely, and the Jaguar F-Type Convertible, which is also going to fall under the unlikely category. Once again, the Jaguar is kind of like the Roof RGT, but better in every way. Just as a lower 0 to 60, still amazing MRI, not as good, but still very strong, and a high top speed. And I would put it under unlikely. And then we have the Ford GT40 race car. That is going to be last resort, to be honest. I wouldn't put it any higher. If the going gets tough, the GT40 would be a car that I would contemplate getting rid of. I know some Ford lovers will hate me for this, but that's just how it is. Then we have the Jag XJ13. This is also going to be a last resort, mainly because this has been a car that I've been chasing for a very long time. I love how it looks, and the stats are amazing. I know the MRA isn't good, but the 0 to 60 is really low, and it kind of has that 60s niche where it really doesn't matter because there's so little cars in that category that the stats that it has already makes it really strong. So because of that, I know the value that the XJ13 brings to the table. I think it's a pretty cool looking car, and therefore there's a very low chance that I'm going to fuse it away. The Volkswagen Arteon is going to be unlikely. I hate Volkswagen, but I see the value in this car. Saloon, medium ground clearance, great handling, center tires, four-wheel drive. The Audi TTS Coupe is going to be 100% hot garbage. One of the first epics I would get rid of. The BMW M6 is going to fall down with the M4. Both of these cars possible. I think they're pretty cool, but I can live without them, okay? The BMW 750i, that is going to be a last resort, mainly because I know what my weaknesses are in my garage, and rear-wheel drive standard tires is definitely one of them. It's a very, it's a very useless niche almost, but I do want to have a car that kind of falls under that category. So having the Maybach 57 and the BMW 750i are basically two cars that I actually want to invest in. So because of that, they're going to go under godly and last resort. Now moving on is the BMW M3 GTS. This is going to be a last resort as well, mainly because although I have a duplicate, I have two M3 GTS. I just feel like having two of these two prize cars is a bit of a flex, and literally because of that flex alone, I want to keep it. So last resort it is. The Porsche 911 Carrera GTS is also going to be last resort. I love Porsches, okay? So a lot of these Porsches are basically going to be last resort cars. The Renault Trezor is going to be likely. I don't care much about French cars. The Roof 3800S is going to be unlikely. And the Infiniti Q60 Black S, I'm pretty sure this is my duplicate, because I have one at 1 star already. So this one is probably going to be possible, just my duplicate Black S. And then with the Donkerfort D8 270, this one is going to fall under godly. There is almost no chance I'm going to get rid of that. Amazing handling, incredibly light, and I guess since we're here, I'm going to put my super light, my duplicate super light here as well. Moving on is the Porsche 911 Carrera RSR. This is also going to be incredible. There's a very low chance that I'm going to get rid of the RSR because many of you know, because you've given me a lot of shit for this. My first RSR I upgraded the wrong way as per recommendation of another Porsche collector who isn't playing anymore. He told me that he was like, Blossom, 323 the RSR. I guarantee you, I'm a Porsche collector in Top Drives. I did it 323 myself. This is fantastic. Yeah, well, that decision, listening to him, I have trust issues now, okay? So the main reason why there's a 1% chance of fusing away my duplicate Carrera RSR is because I want to make amends. I want to do myself right, so that's a low percent. Then with the Porsche 911 GT3 RS, that's also going to be 1% chance. I love Porsches, like I said, and that is 100 handling with performance tires. I see the value in that, and I want to max it out one day. It was wishlisted Epic as well. Then with the Porsche Cayenne Turbo, that's also going to be 1%. Most Porsches are probably not going to fall under last resort, to be honest. The Volkswagen W12 Roadster is going to fall under likely. The duplicate version is also both going to fall under likely. I have one maxed already. Both of them are duplicates. We have the Lingenfelter. The Lingenfelter is going to be incredible, mainly because once again, I'm an American collector, and this is a pretty good American car to have. There's also the chance of it going legendary, perhaps. I don't think Hutch would do that anymore. But that being said, I see the value in this car. I see the hybrid performance that it provides. I would put it under incredible. There's a very low chance of me getting getting rid of that. The Ford Mustang GTR concept is going to fall, whoa, where did it go? It's going to fall under godly. I want to finish off my slick tire Mustang collection, and because of that is definitely going to be a 0.5% chance of it getting fused away. Next up is the Lotus Elise Cup 250. This is going to be a last resort. There have been situations where I was very close to Lotus Elise Cup 250 being fused away, because when you think about it, I've had a lot of epics fused away. Like, let's say, what's the final? Peugeot 208 WRX, where I got rid of about 40 epics, no, 36. I got rid of 36 epics. So basically most of the epics that you see below here were gone, and I was really going down to the last resort epics, and I was very close to getting rid of the Lotus Elise. I was also very close to getting rid of the roof. I had 2 roofs at the time. I actually got rid of one of them, but yeah, Lotus Elise very close, but it's still with me. Great MRA, very light. I see the value in it, but if the going gets tough, I'll get rid of it. AMG GT, this is my duplicate. Pretty likely that I'll get rid of it as well. The Pagani Zonda C12, I would say it's unlikely, verging on last resort. The only reason why it's not last resort is because it's a duplicate. I have one maxed. Next up is the Peugeot 208 RC. That is going to fall under incredible. It's a duplicate as well. I have one max, so if I didn't have one max, then this would fall under godly, but since I have one max and this is a duplicate, I'll put it under incredible. Still very low chance of me getting rid of it. The E-Legend is going to be unlikely. I have one max, so this is a duplicate version. The BMW M1 Pro car, this is going to be godly. I love BMWs, not as much as I love Porsches and Mercs, but I have a soft spot for certain BMWs, and the M1 and the M2, those are the ones. Now moving on is the Ford Mustang GT4. Ford Mustang GT4 is also going to fall under godly, and that's saying a lot because that's my second Ford Mustang GT4, but I want to have 2 maxed for the American flex, baby. The XJ220 is going to fall into last resort. That's going to piss off a few people because this is a legendary car, but like I said, I'm not afraid of fusing away prize cars. If I'm not going to use it, what's the frickin' point? Then we have the Lamborghini Gallardo. This is also going to be a last resort. This, oh my goodness, this used to be one of the best hybrids in the game, but then they added better hybrids like the M3 CS, or what else? The Dodge SRT10. So because of that, the Viper SRT10, because of that, the stocks of the Gallardo has dropped. Back in the day when I first pulled this back in 2018, I would probably put it under godly, but now it's a last resort kind of car. Moving on, the Lotus Evora 400. One is going to be last resort, and my duplicate version is going to be unlikely. That being said, why there's a difference is because I don't have a max Evora, so one of them is going to be my first max if I was going to max them, and that's going to be the last resort one. Then with the AMG SLS Roadster, that is going to be godly to me. You know what? Bump it up, man. Bump it up. I'm going to move it to sentimental. There really is 0% chance I'm going to fuse away the SLS Roadster. I love the SLS, okay? I really love the SLS. So because of that, sentimental, I'm never fusing that away. Then moving on is the SLR McLaren. The SLR McLaren, I would say it's unlikely. Definitely a car that I don't care for too much, and that's the same stats as my baby over here, so I'd rather have my baby. And then next up, we have the Nissan Nismo. This is going to fall under incredible. Over 100 handling and over 200 miles per hour top speed. I see the value in this. Definitely not as good as the Yellowbird per se, but it's still a really good car. Incredible. Then we have the Bentley Continental GT. This one has to fall under specialist. I would fuse it away, but I made an oath with Luke, who was one of my first ever demon patrons, that I will max it for him, and it's been over a year and I haven't maxed it, but at the same time I will promise that I will never fuse it as well, so that's gonna fall under specialist. I have one max, that's the thing, I have one max, so that's why I've been not wanting to max the second one, especially it's a Bentley, you know. KTM Expo RR, that's gonna go under incredible. Definitely not gonna be maxing that, I mean selling that anytime soon. The Mazda Furai is gonna fall under godly, one of the few epics that I definitely want to max out. The C8 Preleator is gonna fall under possible. I got a duplicate. I have one max. I got it from Horror Show. I maxed it out for that. And the C8, honestly, not the best 79. There are much better 79s out there because it's a bit of a hybrid. It's possible. The Audi S8 Plus is gonna fall under unlikely, I would say. The only reason why it's not under possible or likely or hot garbage is because it's a saloon and it has a very low 0 to 60. Main reason is the saloon. saloon, because I'm a bit of a saloon specialist as well, so unlikely. And then last but not least, with the RS6 Avant, which is going to be incredible. So this is basically a fantastic visual representation of epics that I'm willing to yeet and epics that I want to keep. And I think it makes sense that hot garbage should only be 3, because hot garbage are basically the first 3 epics that I want to throw away. So the next time I want to max out or upgrade a legendary, those are the first 3 epics that are hitting the can, my friends. The Audi, the Peugeot, and the Bentley, they're all gonna go bye-bye. And then we have the likely cars over here. You know, the W12 Roadsters, although they're fantastic epics, I have 1 max already. You know, the CSR is a duplicate. The Mustang, I see no value in it. The AMG GTS is a duplicate as well. Then we have cars in the possible category. These are cars where I feel no pain in getting rid of as well. And then we have cars in the unlikely category. These are going to be the epics where it will hurt. It will hurt if I fuse them away, but ultimately I know that if I'm fusing them away, it's for the greater good. Last resort, these ones will sting. These ones would genuinely sting. If I get rid of any of the epics that fall under last resort, those would genuinely sting. Anything incredible and above, I mean, the chances of them being fused away until legendary is almost 0. So really what you want to see are basically all the epics below. From last resort and below are epics that I'm willing to get rid of, okay? So when the next time a tri-series comes along, this is what we're gonna see, and this is how I'm gonna work on the list. I'll get rid of all the cars in hot garbage. Once they're gone, I'll get rid of all the cars in likely. Once they're gone, I'll get rid of all the cars in possible. Once they're gone, I'll get rid of the cars in unlikely, etc, 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 etc. But anyway, this is how I deal with epics. Honestly, I feel like you guys should do the same thing when it comes to a tri-series. Look at your epics, think about the epics that you want to keep, think about the epics that you want to keep but you have to get rid of if the going gets tough, and think about epics that you can get rid of with no remorse. But anyway, I hope you found this video helpful. This is how I treat my epics in my garage when it comes to a tri-series final. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. Remember to stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Sit back, relax in my Bonneville Pontiac. Hold tight all night, cruise to Jacksonville
Atlantic.
Blonde hair, don't care, look like Leslie Brooks. Pin up girls everywhere with the drop dead look. Swing it side to side as we slow dance to the night, when I'll hold your perfect hand and take you out just for a